I frame it in the book as this little voice. It's a whisper. Using that as an example, it could be dealing with a woman that is problematic. Maybe she's got red flags, but at some point there's going to be a little voice in your head, even if you haven't read the chapter on red flags, where most people that are tuned in, especially as you get older and you get duped and people fuck you over and, they take advantage of you. There might, it could be financially or any other way, or they mislead you. You start having this gut reaction, and it's, like I said in the book, it's like this little voice. It's like, hey man, you might want to pay attention to this. She's hanging out with that ex-boyfriend of hers and she's having coffee with him. Hey man, she's got a lot of male friends. Hey man, she likes to go out and party a lot. That little voice, that's your gut, that's your intuition, and it's whispering to you. The problem is that we suck at listening to it. We think we know better. We think that, and again, it could be because we think we know better. It could be because we're thinking with the wrong head. But you proceed anyway, and chaos generally ensues. And it will ensue at some point if your intuition's picking up on something. Getting good at listening to your gut isn't that difficult of a skill. You all have it. You got it. I got it. We all got it. We all have a vibe that picks up on shit that can damage, hurt, or even kill us, So call it whatever you will, your guardian angel, your intuition, your gut, whatever it happens to be. Most people will ignore it when it whispers. We can't ignore it when it becomes a shout. I couldn't ignore it when that gal I was dating that had 2 kids from her prior marriage in tow, and the kid was throwing a hissy fit, having a spaz, calling me names and all this sort of shit. You can't ignore it then you're confronted with dealing with it. And as I've stated many times, and I covered in my book, women that have children, they're not going to side with you. They're often going to side with the kid's bad behavior. Not always 100% of the time, but the vast majority of women, that's how they respond. So using your intuition in relationships, in business transactions, in if you're an employer, if you're an employee, if you're dealing with friends, if you're dealing with anything that you're building with people, associates, businesses, partnerships, it doesn't matter. Listen to it. What is it telling you? A couple of friends of mine, they like to journal, and they'll just journal down, ideas during the day. That's one way to do it. Some people, they'll make audio notes. All phones now have a voice recorder. It's actually called voice recorder on Android phones. And, you can make audio notes, sort of journaling what your gut's picking up on. Use these tools in life to evaluate and assess and hone it. Because in hindsight, it's 100% accurate. They always say hindsight's 20/20. It's always 100% accurate. We had this facilitated retreat once. Dude's name is Colin Collard. He's kind of invisible in the business space, but he's one of the best managers of entrepreneurs and coaches to try to get the best out of you and your business. And we've spent multi-days with this guy several times in a business forum that I was in many, many years ago. This is circa 2010 to 2013 or so. And one of the most valuable lessons that I took away from some of the retreats and some of the times that we were working together, these were like small groups of like 7 to 8 guys and a couple of gals in one of the forums that I was in, where you get to know each other very well. You break bread, you know each other's families, their husbands and wives and, stuff like that, their boyfriends, girlfriends. You get to know them really well. So you're in this environment where you're being built up. It's usually a retreat. There's nobody around. Phones are off, sort of shit. And it was like paying attention to your gut and listening to it. One of the things that came up, there was a guy, I can share the story because I can water it down and sort of like make it vague to get the point across. But there was a guy that was dealing with a employee who was a problem, and he was continuously being problematic. He was zigging when he was saying zag. It's like if you're with a chick and you set a boundary and you say, look, I don't deal with women. She's obviously saying, hey, Rich, dig your vibe. Where do we stand? Are we in a relationship? I don't want to share you, blah, blah, blah. You say, fine, that's cool. But I noticed that, you're friends with one of your exes, and I can't take a chick seriously that deals with one of her exes. So if that's a problem for you, I just don't see this working out. Okay. So, she lets, the ex go. But if she keeps hanging out with him, right, or keeps meeting up with him, keeps texting, doesn't even meet up with him, but keeps texting, stays in communication, that's a boundary. That's a line in the sand that you've set. That is your bottom line. And if they cross it, then that's room for dismissal. Same thing with this guy that I was working with in this business for him. He had this trouble. He has a problem employee. He kept crossing the bottom line. He kept pushing into it, kept causing havoc, drama, manufactured indignation. And the question then became, when do you fire somebody? Is it an evaluation process? Is it how much money they make you in that business? What do they do? What are their tasks? Who do they know? How long they've been with you? What's it going to cost you to package them off? And surprisingly, the answer we always came back to, which solved the problem, and it's usually the simplest thing in the world, was as soon as you realize they need to go. It's as simple as that. When do you fire somebody? As soon as you realize they need to go. AKA, hire slowly, fire quickly. People get hired for their resume. They get hired for their ability. They get hired for their skills, or as they hold out to the public that they have. And slowly over time, as you watch their behavior and how they interact with people and what they do and who they hang out with and all that sort of stuff, they'll tell you who they are. And if you discover who they are is not who you want on board in your relationship, in your business, in your friendships, whatever it happens to be, it doesn't matter. The minute that you realize that they're not a good fit, that's when you get rid of them. And the sooner you can get to that point, the sooner you can get rid of people that are anchors in your life, that are problematic, that are going to expose you to risk, that betray bottom lines that you set. One of the rules that I set for myself and people that I collaborate with is I don't work with losers, and I don't work with people that work with losers. So I'll say that again. I don't work with losers, and I don't work with people that work with losers. So if I identify a group, a company, an organization, whatever it happens to be, that I don't agree with their mission, how they operate, what they do for business, what they're selling, what their service is, what their product, it doesn't matter. And it's them. There's always the us versus them dynamic. Jack Donovan talks about it. I've mentioned his books before. I don't have them here in front of me to wave in front of you, but Jack Donovan talks about the notion of us versus them. There's an empire of nothing out there that they're trying to build for us. The globalists want us all to be all inclusive. Everybody take your jabs, stand on your dots, get all scared about some shit, trending new thing, change your Facebook, social media avatars because you're standing with whoever, standing with whatever flag, whatever cause, whatever the fuck it is that they want you to care about. The empire of nothing, right? And the reality of the world is that's not how things have worked throughout history. It's always been us versus them, okay? So define who us is, draw a perimeter around us, and then define who them are and keep them on the outside. You don't want them to stop eating, feeding themselves, whatever. I want them to eat, just not at my table. So you have to define these things for yourself. This is how you keep your life simple. This is how you keep your life productive. This is how you avoid chaos and drama and unnecessary issues in your life, in your business, and in your relationship, is being fastidious with these lines that you draw in the sand. And you tell these people, you tell these women that you're with, you tell these people that you're in business with, you tell employees that you have, you tell employers, it doesn't matter what it happens to be. If there's a line in the sand that you draw, which is your bottom line, draw it, state it, and let them know why. And if they cross it, you fire them. You fire their ass, right? I already told you, I don't hang out with chicks that, keep men around from their past. So what's it going to be? Because you can't keep hanging out with Bill. Right? Like you guys were porking for years, you were engaged to them. Doesn't matter whatever it happens to be. You don't even have to explain yourself. Just state you make the statement a fact, and it is what it is. And if that's the choice that you're going to make, then I know the choice that I have to make. It's as simple as that. So they can't ever be confused, upset with you. Oh, I was mistreated. I can't believe that, he did that. You fucking told them what you were going to do before you did it. Right? So again, hire slow, watch their behavior, see what they're all about, size them up, and if they cross your bottom line, if they don't fit, you fire them.